New allegations of wasteful spending at Planned Parenthood under President Cecile Richards. A congressional report shows the organization spent $5.1 million on travel in 2013. That's about $14,000 a day. Tax returns show many employees flew first class or charter. In 2011, Planned Parenthood spent $34.8 million on its corporate office near Madison Square Garden. Jonah Goldberg is the senior editor of National Review and a Fox News contributor. Thank you for being with us. Let's first address the argument that those who would stop federal funding of Planned Parenthood are anti-woman. The proposal does not actually take away any money from women's health. It would just divert those funds to other women's health organizations that are not so controversial, so that tax dollars are not going to an organization accused of harvesting fetal tissue, correct?
Right. And you know, this is one of the great, it's sort of almost Orwellian the way people talk about women's health. And when they talk about women's health, they almost invariably mean simply abortions, not breast cancer, ovarian cancer, not any of these other things. And so they say a politician is bad on women's health if they're pro-life, which is a way, it's an intellectual stolen base. And what the Republicans wanted to do is simply divert funds to organizations that don't, that don't harvest baby organs. One of my problems, and you use the word yourself, the word tissue. Tissue is a sanitized word for what's really going on. It's not medically accurate. What they're doing is they're harvesting baby organs.
Right.
That sounds scarier, and so we end up using these other words to hide it.
Good point. Yeah. Those against cutting the federal funding say Planned Parenthood does provide these vital services, but as you noted, this report from the House Oversight Committee ironically says, first of all, Planned Parenthood can survive without the federal help, but also it spends millions on the travel, the charter flights, the high salaries, big parties. But as their revenue has gone up, the committee chair, Jason Chaffetz, says their spending on these health services has actually gone down. Let's listen to Chaffetz.
They had $127 million more in revenue than they had in expenses. Yet between 2005 and 2013, in large part under Ms. Richards' leadership, there's a 53% reduction in cancer screenings, 42% reduction in breast exams and breast care. I don't understand why.
All right, so can Planned Parenthood get by without the $500 million from taxpayers?
Oh, I think they probably could. I mean, I have a couple reactions to all of this. I mean, I think Ben Chaffetz is a smart and honorable guy, but generally the House Oversight Committee's strategy in all this, I think, was poorly conceived. Yes, it's absolutely outrageous that Planned Parenthood pretends to be just a normal healthcare provider and hides behind the mythology of mammograms and all these other things, when really what they are is primarily, and what they're raising money off of, is abortion providing. That is what their core mission is about, and they want to play it both ways. They want to say that they're just like any other health provider, and yet they have these lavish parties, they have these huge salaries, they treat themselves as if they're, high on the hog. At the same time, these hearings, they didn't concentrate on these videos, which is what made Planned Parenthood controversial in the first place. And they sort of got bogged down in this green-eyed shade bean counting stuff. And the Republicans have been proving time and time again that they're not very good at running these hearings and understanding how to get a serious argument out into the media bloodstream. And when you have Cecile Richards out there just defending her high salary, okay, that's a point on the board, but that's basically all it is.
Well, yeah, and it also, and then Chaffetz was accused of, bashing a woman for earning a good salary, when it's not about the salary, it's about who's paying that salary. But, another point that came up during the hearing is the fact that Planned Parenthood gave $22 million to its PAC, which can do lobbying, and the vast majority of the donations from that PAC go to Democrats, according to campaign finance records. So taxpayers essentially paying for Planned Parenthood to give donations to Democrats. What does that have to do with women's health?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. That's a great point. And it's there's this entire sort of liberal democratic industrial complex that you have teachers unions, you have, the SEIU, you have the Clinton Foundation, you have Planned Parenthood, and they all are essentially, you have Emily's List, which is at least a little more honest, but they're all these sort of enterprises that have one sort of stated public function. But then there's also this sort of side function to be this sort of slush fund and money laundering operation to get Democrats elected, who then, once in office, send more public dollars to these organizations that help them fundraise to collect more political contributions to Democrats. It's all incredibly incestuous.
All right, Jonah Goldberg, National Review, thank you as always.
Great to be here. Thank you.